I am having the hardest time reading books that are as captivating as Beth Brower's Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. Emma Lyon is the daughter of a gentleman who happens to be an Irish artist, and she is shipped off to an unfortunate boarding school that is not as great as she thought it would be. After Emma's done with school, she is a personal secretary to her eccentric cousin Archibald, his sister, for about 3 years. And once she's done, she is sent back to St. Crispian's in London, where she is to live at Lazuli House, where her crazy cousin Archibald lives. There are crazy characters in this town, but what we learn is that cousin Archibald does not like Emma. She is his sworn enemy, and he has set to ruin her. He has swindled her, and she must do what she needs to do to survive. And that means letting out a part of the house, Lapis Lazuli Minor. It just so happens that her cousin has recommended a tenant who is a photographer. His name is Pierce. Pierce has a past that we are unsure of or uncertain about until further along in the series. But he is a tenant next door, and he and Emma become good friends, and they pass along notes through the garret that they stay in because the walls are so thin. Another character that is pretty important in the story is the vicar, young Nigel Hawkes. He is a different sort of vicar who is brilliant, who gives out spiritual advice, but also tends to read poetry during his sermons. Emma also befriends a duke, the only duke in the town nearby, Duke Islington. The four of them become great friends. There's this inexplicable kindredness between the four of them as they kind of break with society's protocols to be friends. You know, they show up to each other's houses unannounced. They show up unchaperoned. And by that, I mean Emma. And this is a big deal for the time. It is 1880s. Emma's character is someone who is fierce. She does not care about what society thinks of her. She wants her own freedom, but that freedom comes at a cost. She is under strict demands from her Aunt Eugenia, who is set on marrying off her daughter, her beautiful daughter, Arabella. Arabella is a very close cousin of Emma, and she is to aid her in finding a suitable spouse for Arabella. This requires Emma to attend many functions where she is to portray a drab, sort of dreary person to emphasize or highlight how wonderful her cousin Arabella is to the rest of society. And it's only by compliance that Emma is able to have a bit of freedom at her own house at Lapis Lazuli. There's so many things that happen in this series that I, of course, cannot talk about because I would give away so many spoilers. The people themselves in St. Crispian's are just quirky. They have their secrets. They have their town traditions. It's hard to read anything else that isn't this series. And so I find myself in a conundrum because I have other books to read and review, and they just don't shine as brightly. This series is a captivating and intriguing series about a girl who is entering society by her own means, who meets these three characters that are abnormal and by any sense, and who come to grow very close to her and be with her in her time of need. If you've read the series, you know how wonderful Emma Lyon is. And if you stopped at the first or second book, keep going. It gets better. It gets so much better. The books are written in little novellas, so they are short books. And that's kind of where I see the issue with these books, is because they end on such high notes and they keep you wanting more and more. And it stops at the 8th volume right now, so there isn't any more.